Okay, so for the next portion on covalent substances, we need to know that the way to come up with the formula of covalent substances is not like ionic compounds at all. So if you recall in our chemical bonding chapter, we have learned that covalent substances do not have charges. So you need to know that when I am coming up with the formula of covalent substances, I cannot look at the charge of the ions and then crisscross because there are no ions, right? So one of the main important things to note is that for covalent substances, there are no ions at all. Okay, so there is no ions, charges to crisscross whatsoever. So then how can we come up with the formula of the covalent substances? For covalent substances, there are basically two ways to be able to come up with a formula. Okay, so for the formula, first way is by prefixes, okay, which uses words like mono, di, tri, and tetra to help us to be able to come up with the number of atoms in that molecule. Alright, and for the second way, it is by memorizing. So you cannot run away from it. What do I mean by that? If you look at the chemical ammonia, for ammonia, you are not able to come up with the elements that are present inside the name of, sorry, you are not able to come up with the identity of the atoms that are inside this molecule simply by looking at the chemical name. All right. There's nowhere in ammonia, the word ammonia, that tells you that there is a nitrogen and there are three hydrogen. So there is no way around it. You have to memorize. Another one that you have to memorize will be methane. Okay, so this one again, same thing. You can't determine that there is actually carbon and hydrogen inside this molecule of methane. So you have to memorize. Water is another example. However, for most of us, we already know what the formula of water is, and so this shouldn't be an issue for you. So please note that you have to memorize ammonia, you have to memorize methane. Please highlight it in your book right now and tell yourself, I have to memorize. Okay, how about the prefixes then? How can we make use of the prefix? For the prefix, mono means one, di means two, tri means three, and tetra means four. So this helps us to know how many of that atom is present inside the molecule. So let's try the very first one. We have carbon monoxide. You will notice that the word carbon doesn't have a prefix in front of it, right? So the first one over here, there is no, sorry, there are no prefix. So if there is no prefix in front of the first chemical, sorry, if there are no prefix in front of the first word, it simply means that there is only one carbon. Okay, then for the second one, for monoxide, mono means one, right? So mono means one, and the word oxide actually is the word oxide is actually representing oxygen. Hence, what is our chemical formula? Our formula will be CO. Just CO. Right, let's try again. Second one for carbon tetrachloride. So similarly, you notice that carbon doesn't have any prefix. So how many carbon are there? It's just one. Okay, and for tetrachloride, the word tetra over here is here, tetra, which means 4. Okay, so there are 4, and the word chloride is mentioned there, which means it is chloride is here, which means it is chlorine. Okay, so what is our formula? I have 1 carbon and I have chlorine, but there are 4 chlorine. Okay, so if I've got 4 chlorine, it is written at the bottom right hand corner. If I have a number that's written at the top right hand corner, for example, Mg2 plus, at the top right hand corner, this is charge. And it must be accompanied by either a plus charge or a minus charge. Right? If we write it at the bottom right hand corner, it means that I've got 2 atoms of hydrogen in this molecule of water. Okay, next let's move on. So here I've got the word di, and this is attached to the name chlorine. So di means 2. It means that I've got 2 chlorine inside here, and I have monoxide again, so mono means 1, right? And hence our formula should be Cl2O. So if you look at the chemical name, chlorine comes first, which means that in our formula, chlorine comes first. And the oxide is at the back, which means our oxygen is written at the back. So just follow the sequence that you see in the chemical name. Okay, moving on, I have dinitrogen. So di means 2, right? And then I have trioxide. Tri means 3. So what is our chemical formula here? Can take a guess first. Alright, so this should be N2O3. Okay, moving on. Phosphorus doesn't have prefix, so here there's no prefix, which means it's just one of them. Okay, and then I've got tribromide. So our formula should be PBr3. And lastly, sulfur trioxide. This would just be SO3. Okay, please fill up your book in this portion